Hi you guys, this is Nicole from My Carolina Garden, and what I am up to right now that I am so excited about is coming up with my new design for my gardens this year. I can be the first one to admit that my poolside gardens last year looked pretty freaking good. I had varying colors, textures, sizes, all sorts of things. But this year, I have so much more space that I want to expand into, and that's where you come in. Last year, my gardens right alongside the pool were pretty lush. I was happy with the way they turned out, but here's the thing. I have all this space down here that nobody wants to mow anymore because it means taking the lawnmower and dragging it out just for this area. So instead, I'm going to landscape from my fence line all the way to my concrete line over here, which means I have all of this to fill in. I'm definitely a huge fan of varying heights of plants. I want to have a very layered look to this area, but I'm not sure if the right thing to do in this case is to put super tall plants along the fence line and then start getting lower to a little pathway here, and then maybe go from low to whatever again over here. I'm not sure if that's right because I do have my Leland cypress on the other side of the fence that are very tall already, and they are part of my property. So I'm thinking that maybe in this case my layered look is going to come about from hanging things on the fence, whether it's garden decor, artwork of some kind, something that will bring your eye up, and then I'll have many plantings and textures and colors down below. If I use artwork up on the fence, I'm thinking possibly this wave painting I had done. I did it on plywood. It's completely sealed. My husband thinks maybe we can build a frame for it or make it look cool somehow. So hang up a piece of art on the back fence perhaps. I have these oars that I had the dock cleats on. I used them to hang towels on previously from, pool towels and stuff. But I moved them out of the spot where they were, so maybe they get to go up on the walls. I just don't know. This year has to be about details though, because it's the details that are gonna pull everything together for the look I want. So that's where my mind is. So I'm hoping you can help me with some ideas or suggestions. I have all the space from my shed to my greenhouse, and then from my landscaped bed already beside my pool to my fence line all the way down. So the space is large. I am in growing zone 8A/B. I am in southeastern North Carolina. I have sandy soil and my ground does not freeze. So certain things like canna lilies, for example, I have a lot of. They are perennial for me here. So I want to show you some of the things I currently have planted, and hopefully you can help me out with some thoughts on what else I can do to add the kind of dimension that I'm looking for, largely tropical in style, but things that I can keep because I love perennials. I'll mix in annuals, but I love perennials because I love how they grow, they get bigger, I can divide them up, etc. Okay, so let's start right here. I have a little grouping of banana trees right here. They look like nothing at the moment, but once my temperature starts being above 50 degrees consistently, my banana trees are going to get quite tall, and then the leaves on the top are going to be large as well. So that is a bit of height that I have over here. And then, provided my oleander stays alive this winter, because this is the first time I'm going to have it overwintering, I am right on the line of where oleander is going to be perennial. If the oleander lives through the rest of the winter, that is another item that I have that has height on it. Has the beautiful pink flower, so it's cool because I get to bring that colorful bloom up. I have tropical hibiscus. I have canna lilies. I have blanket flowers. Lots and lots of things over here on this side, but the two things I just pointed out are the tallest. And then here, these are canna lilies. These are my beautiful variegated leaf ones that I adore. They have orange flowers. Again, millions of blanket flowers right there. So the blanket flowers are staying low to the ground by that bench. My canna lilies are gonna have great height on them. And I have things like the perennial hibiscus over here. So I have color, I have texture, and now I need to decide what goes from over here to over here. So with this distance I have in here, and I only need a small walkway just for little feet, not for any kind of big equipment. I was thinking of Rose of Sharon to be over here. They can get pretty tall. They have blooms that are very similar to a hibiscus, so I thought maybe that would be something I could do that would be quite nice. I don't really want to do palm trees because in North Carolina, there is not 100% success rate with them. They can be quite costly to begin with. So I'm kind of trying to stay clear of trees like that are going to be a large expense, and do more shrubs, flowers, low growing things too, even like yuccas, which have a nice vibe and shape to them because they're like different kind of texture. Things like that. As we start making our way to the greenhouse, this was another area where I had tons of canna lilies, differing heights around in this flower bed. You can see the golden sword yucca in the front, which is just a standout feature plant in my opinion. It's gorgeous color all year round. I mean, it's pretty unbeatable. So I love having the yucca there. I've loved the combination of my yucca and my canna lilies together. Again, two totally different textures and different leaf shapes. So that's something I'm definitely interested in. I have banana trees down at the far end of my pool over there. So I have a big cluster of them. So you kind of get a feel for what I've had and really where I can go. I do have a very large grouping of canna lilies here. They are quite tall. They do have to be divided up each year because they don't like to be suffocating each other. So the more room they have to spread out, sort of the better they do. So I was already dividing some of those up and putting those along the fence line last year. This way I have some nice height here, some nice height over there, and then hopefully we can start making some things happen in the middle. If you have watched some of my recent videos where we're sitting here talking about money-saving ways to expand our garden, propagating is one of the tips that I am recommending. And I am propagating several of the hot pink cordyline plants. Cordyline for me has to be overwintered indoors in the greenhouse, but the coloring on the outside is just so amazing that that's something I want more of to put into pots or just toss in here or there. So hot pink cordyline is definitely coming out. As I said, more canna lilies as I divide those up. Those are definitely being spread around. And then, what else? I could definitely go for more evergreen shrubs. I think having some more winter interest out here would be fabulous. My grass is an absolute eyesore over the winter because it does go dormant here, so it makes me just feel like everything is dead. My gardens here are full sun and the heat can be very treacherous over the summer. So heat and drought tolerant plants are also something I'm after. Maybe something that's going to blow beautifully in the breeze. Maybe it's going to be some tall wispy grasses. Maybe it's just more perennial hibiscus shrubs because they get to be large and those flowers are so plentiful. I can't believe how many blooms you could get on a perennial hibiscus. I do have a succulent garden that is along my pool side, but those are beautiful in their own right, but they are low to the ground. They are small. They are great for the interest right by where people walk so everyone can see them. But I know that is not something that I want to put further back on the fence line. Unless maybe it was a huge agave plant or something like that. I could probably get down with that. In my greenhouse, I already have some goodies that are gearing up to spend some time with me outside. Like I have my elephant ears. I think these are called Black Magic. I did divide up a huge plant that I had and put it into multiple pots, so that's definitely going to be part of the landscape. This is all in the name of using the things that we have and expanding our landscape in that way, you know? So I have some tropical hibiscus that is still living in pots for me. I have things like my oyster plants. I only had 2 small oyster plants last year. They have been growing like crazy, so I have divided those up and they can go in multiple places. And it's like the awesome coloring that is on the underside of a variegated leaf makes this an awesome plant. So I do have that. I have mandevilla here and yellow over here. Those are overwintering for me, so those will be added back into the landscape. I have the bougainvillea, whatever, back here, so that's overwintering for me. There's the cordyline from which I took cuttings so I can propagate and make more. Oh, this pot is heavy. This is currently the only canna lily that I have in the greenhouse. You can see it sprouting up some new leaves. I took this one out of the ground like right before it started to get really cold, just so I could have it in here like kind of growing for me. I didn't do that with any of my other canna lilies this year, but this one is my favorite because it's a variegated, but variegated with so much color. Holy cow. But I have things like that. I have things like my purple heart, which is a succulent style plant. I've talked about it before. These are just cuttings that are beginning to root in water. I do this all the time with the purple heart. This will be added back into the landscape if I want. So I do have some things, but I really want to hear other people's suggestions and ideas because my imagination is just running wild at this stage. You know how it is wintertime, right? I'm starting to get excited. I hope that you are too. Spring is going to be here before we know it, and then we're going to be outside filling our days with garden joys. That is my favorite day, when I get to just be outside with my plants the whole time. So I look so forward to showing you how this garden expands and develops, how I figure out my layering and the multitude of plants that I would like to have, always staying on a budget, always staying on a budget. So if you do have thoughts or tips or comments that you can give me, please share in the comments below, because I love to hear that. This is what this channel is all about, sharing plant ideas. Thank you so much for watching, and happy planting.